El extraordinario caso de Billy MEIER, parte 4. Hasta este momento todas las pruebas realizadas por los investigadores habían salido positivas. Al parecer, Billy MEIER en realidad estaba teniendo un contacto con seres de otro mundo. Pero, ¿todo esto en qué terminará? Bienvenidos a esta cuarta parte de la extraordinaria historia de Edward Billy MEIER, el granjero que revolucionó la historia del contacto extraterrestre en el mundo.
Estás entrando a Larquemo. El universo oculto de Oxlack Investigador.
Los investigadores no estaban satisfechos con los resultados, y aunque no habían encontrado ningún indicio de fraude en las evidencias de Billy MEIER, decidieron regresar y hacer sus propias fotografías con modelos a escala, y colgarlas de un hilo. Querían hacer una comparación y demostrar que era posible duplicar las fotografías de MEIER.
By now, the investigators have made over a dozen trips to Switzerland. The case takes up more and more of their time and taxes their ingenuity. Each test leads to another, and every result is double and triple checked. To test the possibility that the MEIER photographs were made using small-scale models suspended by transparent monofilament, the investigators bring with them a detailed model of a beam ship they identify as Variation 2. While Welsh flies the model on a hilltop above the farmhouse, MEIER and Stevens snap several rolls of film. The camera MEIER is using is the same one with which he took all the other pictures. The results are impressive. To the naked eye, some of the photos appear genuine.
El resultado que arrojaba en el estudio era que por el contorno del objeto se podía identificar el tamaño de las naves, revelando inmediatamente las fotografías del modelo como un fraude, a diferencia de las presentadas por Billy MEIER. El siguiente plan era presionar a Billy para que terminara por decir la verdad. Los investigadores buscaban que éste aceptara que todo se trataba de un fraude.
How do they contact you, Billy? How do you know to go out and meet them?
Yeah, that's a simple way. If I hear the order in my head to go to a contact, then I leave the house or just the place where I stay at the moment, and then they will guide me to the place where they pick up me.
Well, let me ask a question. Why you?
You see, and I can work together with them because I understand to close up my earth body vibrations.
See, Billy's explained to me before that they perceive in Earth humanity all the vibrations of lust, envy, greed, avarice, all of the things that make us dense, and it gives us a heavy vibration that they react to as a bad smell. In fact, he's even mentioned that they call it the auric stench of Earth humanity, and it's discomforting to them. It gives them problems, it makes them sick.
Yeah.
To stay in their presence
When he
long.
closes up his vibrations, are we talking about an altered state of some sort, like alpha, beta, or theta, as far as the consciousness is meditation?
In a way, it's like meditation. He rids himself of all of the unpleasant aspects of Earth life.
But Billy,
The vibration of the earth human.
you say they're advanced technologically. How far ahead of us advanced are they?
They are about 3,500 years in their experiences about technology, far out from our level. And
They study us because we represent an earlier stage of their own evolution.
yeah. You know, they had war, they had trouble together, they was fighting together, and they needed a very, very long time to get peace under themselves.
They made a very interesting observation at one point. They said that if we could now concentrate Earth's energies and resources, we could achieve all that they can do now in about 300 years of our time.
De pronto, una de las preguntas más importantes. Si Billy había podido estar en el interior de esas naves, ¿por qué no tenía ni una foto de su interior?
If you've been in the ship, why not photographs inside of the Pleiadians themselves?
It's impossible to make it because there are powers inside, they always break the film.
He's taken a number of rolls of film, and when they're developed, they're usually black. They've got anything that's wavy lines through it.
So you're
So
talking about...
I lose it so hundreds of films.
Otra de las preguntas fue, ¿por qué están aquí? ¿Y qué es lo que quieren?
Why are they here now and what do they want?
You see, they don't come here to harm us. They don't come to start trouble here or war or to overtake the earth in their ruling. They just see us here as their little brothers or something like that. And they want to bring real teaching of the natural life and of the spiritual belonging, spiritual teaching, spiritual life and all this.
But they must want something from us.
They just want nothing.
Nothing.
You see, for the human on earth, it's impossible to believe this, but that's really the truth. They just want nothing from the humans on earth.
Hasta el momento, no hubo indicios de que Billy mintiera, y los expertos seguían asombrándose con los resultados de las fotografías. Cada vez se convencían más de que eran completamente reales.
In Phoenix, Dilatoso comes up with a startling new discovery.
We're getting into a really interesting area in these pictures. We don't really have to test every picture anymore to see if it's a real picture or not. We can't find anything that tells us it's a hoax, so let's start looking for things that are interesting from picture to picture. Look at the color here. It seems to contour to the shape of the craft.
Have you seen this in a lot of the other photographs?
In the MEIER case. Look at the bottom here. On what's down here, it stops right in the horizon. With the coincidence of it follows this line in the craft, and it follows that line in the craft, and it follows parallel right underneath the bottom there, and we find it in half of the other pictures, I think it means something.
You think it's something that we're not seeing in the photograph with our eyes?
We get some kind of an aura, whether it's infrared, thermal energy, as yet I don't know. I think that craft is putting out a force field.
Entonces los investigadores ahora intentaron con una prueba de detección de mentiras. Billy únicamente tenía que contestar las preguntas que se le realizaban.
Okay, first question. Is your name Edward MEIER?
Yes.
The tape is taken back to be analyzed by Bob Phelan, a former criminal investigator with the Sheriff's Department of Colorado and a specialist in lie detection.
Question 4 was the first relevant question you asked him, is have you taken the photographs of spacecraft? His answer was yes. He's being extremely forceful, though not deceptive. And my opinion on that particular question is that he's being as truthful as possible. Number 7 was the second relevant question you asked him, and he answered right on top of the question, and the person asking the question had asked him to answer the question again, and then he asked the question again. The stress levels between the two diminished the second time that the question was asked, which is not indicative of deception, because stress builds in a deceptive pattern. It doesn't diminish. If it was a deceptive answer, the stress would then increase, not decrease.
El resultado nuevamente es el mismo. Billy dice la verdad. Mientras los investigadores buscaban más formas de desmentir a MEIER, este sacaba nuevas evidencias, cada vez más impresionantes.
Once again, in slow motion. Even slower.
En este nuevo video, se puede ver cómo el constante movimiento de la nave hace que el árbol se meza. Claramente la nave está sobre el árbol, una producción imposible de realizar para un simple granjero solitario en aquellas colinas de Suiza. Esta es otra de las imágenes históricas, una nave que ha quedado en la mente de los entusiastas del fenómeno ovni. Una extraña nave, un modelo diferente, imponente, que es llevada para que MEIER la fotografíe y también graba el extraño sonido que ésta emite.
Later, Semyasi brings a new beam ship to pose for MEIER's cameras. A variation quite unlike anything he has seen before. She explains, as best he can understand it, the function of the spheres for propulsion of the craft in interstellar travel. The sound of the new beam ship shows marked differences to the sounds of the other variation craft. MEIER tapes these as well. The tapes are taken to electronics consultant Niels Rognerud and sound engineer Steve Ambrose for examination.
We have two pieces of equipment. One measures the signal we're listening to in the time domain, the top one here, and the bottom one is measuring the frequency components of the signal.
There are not synthesizers on the market that have oscillators that change that randomly. Even if you got 9 or 10 of them going, they wouldn't change from those peaks that quickly.
I would think it's highly unusual. I don't really see any application for it, with the exception of, like I say, either generating a magnetic wave of some sort for laboratory purposes or maybe in this case propulsion.
Ahora los investigadores se centran en el sonido. Algo debe demostrar que Billy está mintiendo, pero terminan quedando aún más sorprendidos.
Also, another interesting point to note here is we have a steady, there seems to be a steady pattern all throughout all of this random signal. It seems to be level change very steadily in around 5 to 10 cycles per second, which happens to be in the area of the natural magnetic resonance of Earth, also called the Schumann resonance.
Is that significant in any way?
It could be. It's just interesting to note the correlation there.
The peculiar correlation is something strange.
I mean, why would the correlation be there?
Yeah.
You can see it on the oscilloscope.
MEIER says the beam ships can ride the magnetic field of the Earth. Rognerud's findings seem to bear this out.
Lo que ahora están viendo es otro de los espectaculares videos de Billy MEIER. Aquí podemos ver cómo una nave avanza desde el fondo de la toma hasta acercarse a la cámara, algo que demuestra que no se trata de ningún modelo. Hasta este momento Billy ha superado todas las pruebas que le han puesto y ha derrotado todos los análisis que le han hecho a sus evidencias, en busca de algún error. ¿Billy en verdad fue contactado por extraterrestres? Esta es una de las más grandes historias de la ufología, un verdadero clásico que ahora estamos reviviendo y que seguiré presentando en forma de tomos hasta el fin de este extraordinario caso, el caso de Edward Billy MEIER. Te estaré esperando aquí en Larkemo, el mundo oculto de Oxlack. Antes de continuar, recuerda suscribirte al canal, pero lo más importante de todo es que le des clic en la campanita y le pongas en la opción todas para que formes parte de nuestra gran comunidad. No lo olvides, dale clic en la campanita en la opción todas. Bienvenidos y muchas gracias.